Hello all newcomers and welcome back fellow Aeternians. As always, my name is Emperor AP and today we have a lot going on. I go on break for like a few days. I'm starting the semester, getting things started off right. I'm gone for a few days and already things start going crazy in the world. So we're going to talk about a lot of that. We're going to figure out what's going on and we are going to give you guys updates on the channel. A lot of it's going to be that as well. Like I said, I'm starting school at the moment, so that'll be a big thing, but we'll get into all that in just a minute. Hello, what's going on, Kingdom of Sagin? What's going on, Real JL Films? How are you guys doing? Let me start Googling some stuff. So, one thing, if you guys have not heard the news, there's a lot of conflict going on right now in Iran, and that's insane. Republic of Guinea, hello, how are you guys? Yeah, I was just talking about, we have a lot going on in the news right now. Going on with Iran, it's getting kind of crazy. So far, the most recent thing I think is President Trump said, all is well, missiles launched from Iran at 2 military bases located in Iraq. Assessment of casualties and damage taking place now. So far, so good. We have the most powerful and well-equipped military anywhere in the world by far. I will be making a statement tomorrow morning. So that was a tweet by the President of the United States about the situation so far. It's been getting crazy. What do you think about a possible World War III? That is a good question, Republic of Guinea. I don't think there will be a World War III, or at least this wouldn't be, but you never know. I really don't think that seriously, though. I think most of the time the world as a whole wants to resolve conflict as much as possible. It's disappointing when nations do things to provoke each other in one way or another, and that causes those tensions and those buildups, but one thing that is particularly difficult and one thing that is particularly well known is when that happens, when that sort of escalation grows larger and larger, other nations try to come in to mediate. Other nations try to work together to find a solution, which is part of the reason why we have the UN, part of the reason why after World War II and the devastation that caused, so many nations vowed we would never have that again, that we would not be so close to our own destruction. Similarly, when the Cold War rose and fell, I think there have been many times in history where we have, especially in recent history, have edged closer and closer to very large, devastating effects on the planet, just from human war alone, and that's something that I don't think any of us ultimately want. So I'm not sure that it'll get to that great a scale, but I do think there is the potential for an armed conflict. It seems like there's already quite violent attacks going on from both sides, and it's a tragic event. I'm so sorry for the people on both sides, anyone who is innocent in the area, anybody who is trying to flee, who's trying to deal with the situation that they found themselves in. I'm so sorry about that. It's terrible. What's up, man? What's up? And so yeah, that's what we're talking about in part today. Let's see. Kingdom of Sagin, you said, let's see. Message redacted, awesome, as always, message redacted. Kingdom of Sagin, I think that the U.S. should withdraw from the Middle East. That's an interesting point. Why do you feel that's the case? Real JL Films, do you think the U.S. and Iran are going to go to war because Iran is declaring a jihad? Hopefully, I used the right term. I don't. There's part of that I don't really want to speak on. That's I guess an interesting stance. The U.S. and Iran are going to war. I think the U.S. and Iran could be going to war. It seems like things are escalating quite heavily and quite violently on both sides, as we just talked about, but I don't know if there will be a formal war or not. If not, there will definitely be a lot of armed conflict going on in the area coming up. Let's see. Republic of Guinea, another question. Do you think the U.S. is in the wrong for firing? Let's see. Do you think the U.S. is in the wrong for firing a missile and killing a high-ranking official in Iran's army? Do I think that the U.S. is wrong for firing a missile and killing a high-ranking official in Iran's army? I don't know. I wasn't privy to the intelligence that was had on either side in the situation. I know what I've seen through the media, and I think that any killing on any side is bad. As you see, we have a video, if you haven't watched it, go check it out, about war in general and sort of our policy on that. But that being the case, I feel like it is the most extreme option to invade a country's ability to support its own leadership. If that country is planning attacks against another country, I don't know exactly where the line is drawn there. I feel like, regardless of the situation, I can't say that I know for sure much on the situation, but I know that in either regard, trying to provoke another country is wrong, whether it be by assassination, whether it be by provocation, whether it be by just doing things out of one's way to specifically cause a conflict is a problem on any level. It shows that you're trying to escalate things, and it gets to the point where you're not helping anybody, you're not showing resolve. At a certain point, you are just hurting people's lives and affecting people's ability to grow and to be successful and to be happy, which is ultimately what all of us want. So it's an issue when some of us decide to hurt each other, when some of us decide that it's worth our ideology, our view, our pride to go out of the way and provoke another, or to attack another, or to kill another. Obviously, no person is perfect, no situation is perfect. I understand that sometimes drastic measures are necessary, but as to this specific instance, I don't believe that was necessarily the case. I can't be certain, and I wasn't privy to the information. I don't know what I would have done in this situation, but because I don't fully know the situation. But I think that ultimately provocation on either side is the main issue that should be addressed. That countries should find better ways to de-escalate situations and have better ways for mediating before things get to this point, to not allow it to go from to not build up for this long and in this large a frequency without the international community intervening in a larger way and in a more peaceful way. I think, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I think the international community on different sides has different agendas, different purposes for what they've done in the situation or what they haven't. But I think it's time to come together as people on the earth and say that we don't want war. We don't want to go out of our way killing each other, because it doesn't ultimately help us toward the larger goals we need to achieve in the future, so that all of us can be happy and all of us can be successful, and so that we can do things like travel to other planets and create colonies there, and to cure diseases, to achieve scientific wonders. It's not good for any of us to have constant fighting and killing and feuds between each other when we could be helping. when we could be innovating, when we could be making things that are more positive, and that may solve the problems that we're fighting over. So that's my 2 cents. Kingdom of Saugeen. I think the U.S. should withdraw from the Middle East. Real JL Films. Yep, we did that. Republic of Guinea. Republic of Guinea as well. Have you heard of the sightings or whatever of people possibly having the bubonic plague in China? And do you think it could be the same as what happened in the Middle Ages? Also, I agree. I'm glad to hear you feel that way, Republic of Guinea. Have you heard the sightings or whatever? That's interesting. I feel like I have, I've definitely heard of them. I don't know much of the details of that or the accuracy of that. It's not a story I've really looked into. I think I'd heard something about it. I'm not sure. Maybe you'd mentioned it to me before, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you. You'll have to let me know what you hear about it, I suppose. Okay. And if it is, I would imagine. I don't know. I would imagine, as things stand, we would be all right. Modern medicine and capabilities have come a long way. I just think we'd be all right with a good bit of sanitation. All right. Yeah, so we've been looking up that stuff as well. One of the things that I am super excited about, you guys, and I'm just gonna completely brag here on my own micronation, but let's see. What do I want to show you? Oh yeah, YouTube. Let's go to YouTube and let's check out different micronational YouTube channels. So we're going to start looking up different micronational YouTube channels. If you guys want me to look some up, I will. But I want to see kind of where the Empire of Aeternia ranks in other micronations and in this micronation, as to where we stand. Specifically on YouTube, specifically on number of subscribers. So that's a ranking in itself. But as we are moving past 500 subscribers as well, thank you all so much, onto 1,000 subscribers, we will start to be able to build a small economy for the Empire of Aeternia, to start having something that's not only a treasury that we've actually founded fairly recently and have been growing for a little while, as some of you have seen in previous videos, but the thing that we would want to move for ultimately is something that is a consistent form of income, something that we can easily put aside all the time and have dedicated to the Empire of Aeternia. And for that, we're going to have YouTube monetization. When we run ads, when we get a little bit of money here or there, if one of you all care to donate to our Patreon, it's something that helps us to put together in our treasury a future for the Empire. It's something that helps us to grow and expand. So that's really why we want to get to 1,000 so bad. That's why we're trying to work toward this so bad, is because when we're able to get to that 1,000, we start the step to having a consistently chugging along economy, to have something that's going to grow and add fuel to the fire. So I'm looking up what that 500 is in comparison to other micronations. How likely is it for a micronation to get to 1,000 subscribers, past 1,000 subscribers, and why that is, and how we sit among those giants, I suppose. Okay, and what we can learn from them, ultimately. So let's go to one of my good friends, by the way, I want to shout out. I haven't shouted out him in a minute, because we just started kind of working together. I've been watching his videos for a good little bit, and I suggest you do too. There is the Waywood Territory out of the United Kingdom. They are on our micronational map. If you haven't checked that out, I suggest you do. But this is the Waywood Territory. They have 598 subscribers. So as of right now, the Waywood Territory and I are fairly close as far as subscribers. They are a little bit ahead of us, but we are slowly making moves toward 1,000 just like they are. So every day, as you can see, just about, they put out videos. A lot of their stuff is dealing with creating a settlement essentially out in the forest, and it's pretty cool. They do a lot. It's about the guy, Chief Raoul's life and what he goes through day to day, and you can see that all on the channel. So definitely check it out. It's pretty cool. In addition, let's see. Let's go to our good friends over at the Peoples Republic of Parkastopia. So they, as you can see, have 92 subscribers. In general, I will say this, hitting the 100 subscriber mark for many micronations is difficult just because micronationalism is such a niche. So whenever a larger micronational YouTube channel grows past 100, once you start getting into the hundreds, that's a big milestone, and I'm proud to say that the People's Republic of Parkastopia seems like they're about to be joining us on that front. So I'm excited for them, and I hope you all are too. Help them to get to 100 and to help launch off this exciting journey for all micronations. The idea is for the ones that go ahead, the ones that end up moving through, myself, Waywood Territory, People's Republic of Parkastopia, the ones before us, to teach down the line what we know and to pass it on to you all, because this may not be the best way for micronations to earn money, but with the size and capability of micronations at the moment and the niche that they are, if there is a sincere attempt to grow and to become economically stable and economically advantageous for the people who are a part of them, it's important for us to have a starting point. And I think the internet in general, finding some way to make consistent money through the internet is something that is openly available and equal on all playing fields for most people. So whether you have a lot of startup capital or nothing, you're able to do things on the internet. And that's what we're trying to get. And I'm so glad that Parkastopia is moving onward to 100 and through that to 1,000. So I'm excited for them as well. Let's look at a nation I have been trying to contact for a little bit, and I hope that you guys can contact him for me, help me get in touch with him. Deron for Superpresident. He as well is one that is near to us at 7:30. He is a little bit farther than Waywood Territory. Waywood Territory is a little bit farther than me. I am a little bit farther than the People's Republic of Parkastopia, and then there are on down the line. In a second, we're going to start looking at much bigger nations, but Deron is one that I have wanted to work with a lot. He's a pretty cool guy, making essentially vlog-style videos all about starting the, I believe it's the Republic of Jar. Yeah, so you guys should check that out, and I hope that I can meet with Superpresident Deron at some point. So, yeah. Alright, let's see what these comments have been saying. I've been off the comments for a good second. Alright, so... Here we go. Alright, so... Real JL Films. Okay, Republic of Greenia said, check out mine. We can do that in just a second. Alright, let's go to Republic of Greenia. Here we go. Alright, and Republic of Greenia is in the comments right now. We're checking them out. Alright, they are at 27 subscribers. And that's something that is pretty cool. The first 25 are also particularly hard to get, I found. Everybody says that, like, whatever stage you're at is the hardest one. But I definitely think, like, your first few subscribers are absolutely the hardest to get. And each one of them feels super rewarding. So it's super cool. I mean, even right now, like, anytime I get a subscriber, it'll be one every like a week or so, and I'll get somebody, and then I'm like, oh, and I'm super hype about it. So yeah, no, definitely. 27 subscribers is awesome. It's always that 25 to 50, and then that 50 to 100, because you're trying to stretch yourself. They always feel agonizing, and they take a long time to build up to, but definitely keep at it, dude. 27 onto 100 onto 1,000, you know. I am excited for you all. Alright, so Real JL Films. Republic of Greenia, the bubonic plague originated from China, and the disease then went to India and then to Europe. Didn't know that. Republic of Greenia said they didn't know that. Real JL Films. I learned it in history last trimester at my school. That's cool. Republic of Greenia, Republic of Greenia, check out my channel or the Republic of Delphia. I guess I'll check that out in a second. Real JL Films, I think you should make a tourist industry for Aeternia like Molossia. That's an interesting idea. I feel like if I were in a more tourist-friendly location, well, we do have one, but I would say if there were a more convenient way for me to do that, if I had a larger property, if I had somewhere more consistent to create tours and to design things for those tours, I absolutely would. So it's not something we're at yet, but it's something we're working toward, definitely. Um, let's see. Republic of Guinea, I'm not the oldest person, so Republic of Guinea, yeah. Comrade 115, hello Guinea. Republic of Guinea said hello. Awesome. So, that all being said, let's see. Who else? Okay, this is one. Calsahara. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. As well, a larger micronation. They dealt with Molossia a bit. And, yeah, so they have actually passed the 1,000 subscriber mark. And that, again, is something that only a few micronations have really surpassed, that I've seen at least. If you guys have found some, definitely let me know. But specifically micronations that have made over 1,000. So Calsahara, let me see, they're at 1,000, 1.14K. So they are a few hundred above, um, Deron for Superpresident, who is like 200 above, well, like 100 something, I guess, above Waywood Territory, who is like 90 something above me. So definitely getting on our way up, and Calsahara is definitely doing well at the moment. So that's fantastic. Well, their last video was 4 years ago, but I guess I should say their subscriber mark, shall they choose to continue making videos at any point, I think would do really well. A lot of their videos as well, they have, what, 3, 6, 12 videos. They are well produced, they're entertaining. So I feel like as well they're kind of a more simulationist micronation, but definitely very cool stuff, and they earned all 1,000 subscribers, absolutely. Okay, so back to our stream comments. What are y'all saying? Hello, Xavier, never heard of you. Also excited for the new shed. Oh, I've heard of Calsahara. Awesome. All right. What's going on, Xavier? How you doing, man? Excited for the new shed. That's awesome. Thank you. I'm excited as well. That's been a big thing for us. It's going to be kind of a new headquarters for the Empire of Aeternia. I've actually been working on it more, and I've recorded some stuff, but I haven't had time to do a voiceover for it like I want to, so still in the process of making that, but more shed stuff should be coming out soon. More micronational headquarters stuff should be coming out soon. Hopefully more micronational economics. We're really trying to get to 1,000, and we can make 1,000 subscriber video. We can do all that stuff, so definitely help to push us through, guys. But that's definitely one of the big plans is, I don't want to give away too much, but cleaning out the shed, trying to get my electronic stuff, honestly, put in there as kind of a storage. Then from there, setting up kind of a workspace and a design and a feel like the Empire of Aeternia, sort of making something that is made in our own image for once, and to be a permanent place where we can do videos and where we can have a lot that goes on, where I can show you guys new stuff and keep things. Maybe I can start a P.O. box if you guys would want to do that, and you could send different things from your micronation, and I could put them in the background. So we'll figure all of that out soon, but yeah, right now we're trying to clean it out, fix it up, get it ready, and you guys will have content that follows me along the way. So the biggest thing is, if I don't post for whatever reason, try to be understanding. I'm going through the second half of my degree here, trying to get my bigger classes done now, so definitely bear with me, and I'm going to keep posting videos. Things are going to be good. Alright, Real Calsahara, I've heard of you. Um, Republic of Guinea, which form of government do you prefer? Um, are you asking me out of two specific governments or out of a few specific ones, or any in general? Because it really depends on the circumstance. For myself, we are, as of right now, completely let me see. We have a single ruler. I'm not necessarily a monarch. I'm an emperor, but it doesn't necessarily go through my bloodline. I'm the single one head ruler of the Empire of Aeternia. I'm not sure if you would consider that a dictatorship necessarily because I believe dictatorship has kind of a negative or harsh connotation to it. But let me see. I think despotism is kind of a similar thing. Yeah, despotism is negative. Okay, so what else? Dictatorship. Let's see what the Empire of Aeternia actually is. Absolute authority in any sphere. Authoritarian form of government. A single leader, group of leaders. Little or no toleration of popular pluralism or independent programs. See though, that's not what I would be though, because I want independent news programs, things like that. We have things on the Empire of Aeternia, so no. I wouldn't consider myself a dictator. Let's see. Authoritarian. See though, favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority. No. I don't think I'm a monarch, but I guess that might be the definition of what I am, but I don't want to be considered a monarch butterfly. You know what I mean, guys? Let's see what a monarchy is. Until death or abdication, legitimate governing power of the monarchy may be purely symbolic to restricted to fully autocratic to combining executive legislation. Okay, cool. So we're an absolute monarchy, I guess. But fuck, dude, I'm not a monarch butterfly. All right, I'll tell you that. If I am, I'll float like a butterfly and just be amazing at it. You know, you could say I'd sting like a bee, but you know we're not gonna try and do the war thing. So primarily just chilling. Absolute monarchy. All right. So I guess that'd be a better description. I'm gonna see if you guys have anything you're throwing into here. It's Cartoon's Best Moments. Hey, what's going on, Cartoon's Best Moments? How are you? Republic of Guinea. What forms? What forms of government do I prefer? Forms of government do I prefer? I guess I prefer. Let me see how long this stream has been going. First off, 29 minutes. Okay, cool. Where are we doing? All right. So, what sort of government styles do I prefer? It depends on the context. The United States, I think, democracy works fairly well. I think. Well, it's not complete democracy. It's like a republic, but it's a democratic republic. I think certain forms of democracy work in certain cases. Certain forms of socialism work in certain. See, because the dilemma there is so. I don't believe socialism itself is a form of government. Let me see. I believe political economic theory of social organization, which aggregates the means of production, distribution, exchange, to be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. Okay, so it's political theory. See, but it's not exactly a form of government. See, okay, let's see. Socialism, reign of economic systems. Economic and social systems. Okay. So, there could be a socialist government, I guess. Yeah, I think varying degrees of socialism can work depending on the situation. Same thing with democracy, same thing with Um, you know, it's all contextual, I suppose. What's the time period? What's the circumstances that we're dealing with? For the Empire of Aeternia, for example, to go back to, we are an absolute monarchy, but we are an absolute monarchy because I'm the one running it. I'm the one who started it, and we don't have many dedicated citizens at the moment. We have 500 of you all on the internet, but we don't impose strict law or rule amongst those of you that are subscribed, those of you that are a part of our 500 now. In growing to having more participation in person, I believe things will change and adapt. I'm not sure that we'll necessarily become a republic. I think I'll still keep a monarchy, but not necessarily a familial, a heritage-based monarchy. I think the biggest thing that we would be trying to do is to use monarchy, to use myself being the stabilization tool, being the thing that's always consistent, to be able to create and to be able to grow a nation, to be able to have the pieces form together instead of just separating and crumbling, essentially. So I think things that are more absolute can be better in smaller circumstances with fewer people, but when you start getting larger and larger and larger, it's harder and harder to have complete control by one person, because it's not feasible. It's not easy to represent a large number of people, and to accurately be able to design laws around each person's individual culture and identity and things like that. So at that point, it does need to become a bit more democratic, a bit more open, in my opinion, and a bit more balanced in many ways. So as societies grow and as societies change, they require different things, and that's what government, I suppose, I prefer, the best one for the time, but it's really circumstantial. That's a long answer, but that's my answer. Real jail films. I was a dictator once, but I was like Huey Long. Now I'm a monarch. Okay, nice. Message is held for review. Republic of Greenia said I have to go in a sec. What do you think would happen if the UK left the European Union? Also, first off, we have 7 viewers. What's going on, guys? How are y'all? 6 viewers. What's going on, guys? How are y'all? So what do I think would happen if the UK left the European Union? I think it would be, it already is economically straining for the European Union for the UK to have left, or to be attempting to leave, to be starting to cause such an issue. Eight people viewing. What's going on, guys? I think it's difficult because the way that this economic system with the European Union has been designed and has been set up is to benefit the entire group. It's really difficult for one of its largest, most successful members to just yank itself away, especially when it was a part of its formation and in its design. I think the politics of the United Kingdom need to decide more concretely whether they are supportive of larger legislative bodies or if they are against them. Extra national entities being larger government systems or larger legislative bodies, because that's the ultimate question, right? If the UK is going to pull out of the European Union, what they're essentially saying is we want to be more isolationist, we want to be more independent, we want to be further away from something that feels like a bigger government than we are. So if that's the case, then they should not participate, but that will hurt everyone involved. They already started to support and to dedicate to a larger system, a larger economic system, which could create more benefits through regulation and through ultimately designing and shaping of trade in Europe to maximize its efficiency, to create open borders, to create easier trading policy, to create a more fluid system in Europe. The problem comes in when nations start to pull apart and to fight and to second guess the system that they're building, because it is a large, complex thing, and when it shrinks rapidly and grows rapidly in size and is very uncertain like that, it has a difficult future ahead for it, and it has slow growth ahead for it. So if the UK leaves the European Union, it is shooting its own gift. It's shooting its own creation, and that's tragic. I think the UK should be happy to be in the European Union. I think they may agree or disagree with some of the policies that are involved, and I think there are methods for going about changing that. But I think it is very difficult for a group like that, a union like that, to work if the members are going to bicker and fight and decide we can pull out anytime we want to. Let's see. It's like Republican, Democratic, Communist, Authoritarian, Monarchy. Okay, cool. Personally, I think NI would leave. Northern Ireland. Why is it difficult for the U.S. to pull out of Iraq? Oil? Republic of Guinea message redacted. Why is it difficult for the U.S. to pull out of Iraq? That's a really complicated question for someone with more knowledge of it than me to answer, but from my understanding, it has to do with a large conflict in the Middle East in general, based in dealings with Iran supporting and backing Iraq, essentially countries inside the Middle East being supported by different factions, whether it be the United States, whether it be essentially the West versus the East, democratic countries versus communist countries or socialist countries, and those countries and their political spheres of influence affecting over many years the Middle East and creating different factions and different groups that are fighting against each other, as have been fighting against each other for many years before that turmoil began. But once that took hold, I believe the difficulty has been in trying to allow these nations to grow and to change, and to change leadership from the ones that have been sort of prodded in the last 40, 50, 60 years by outside nations and different faction and groups, and instead trying to find their own way democratically to create states and to follow their beliefs and to create the societies that they want. But it's difficult to do that when there are so many different vested interests in the region, and both internal to the region and externally. Iran sort of showing its influence right now over Iraq, but as well there being many other situations like this, whether it's Israel and Palestine, whether it's Iraq and Iran, whether it's terrorism as a whole across the Middle East and North Africa. There are so many difficulties going on in that area of the world that it's not easy to give just one answer as to why the U.S. can't pull out of Iraq. They could if they wanted to, but regardless of anyone's decision, it seems at the moment, large countries are already in the Middle East, and any movement, whether further in, whether further out, or standing still, causes pain and has difficult consequences. So we're essentially, I think, larger powers jumped into effectively what they considered a surgery of the Middle East, trying to design and create what they thought would be beneficial or what they thought would help to create the world that they wanted. And ultimately, I think what's ended up happening is people got into something that they didn't know necessarily how it would go, or maybe didn't care, were concerned with their own interests in all regions, inside, outside, and ultimately had a difficult view of, well, now how do we get out of this? How do we put this situation to such a state where we can leave reasonably and where we don't have significant repercussions for it? They've sort of stepped in their own garbage and they can't get out, trying to assist people who need it, trying to help people become independent who need it, is terrible when you've caused so much difficulty in the first place. And then that going as well to extend to sort of an end of the idea of colonialism, things like that over the past 100 years, or longer, 200 years. The difficulty has been in nations understanding independence. That's the thing that micronationalists like us, we have difficulty with, is finding independence and in exactly what a person's right should be for seeing the world, seeing their life designed how they would like it versus how much that affects society or affects a larger group's worldview. So all of those decisions, all of those vested interests fighting against each other is the situation now, has been the situation for ever, basically, not just in the Middle East. Republic of Guinea, message redacted. But Northern Ireland has been looking to leave the UK for a while. This would give them legal excuse. Question, what religion do you believe in? Oh no, we were going there. Yes, bro, it's a proxy war. Okay. So let me ask this. Republic of Guinea, are you asking me what religion I believe in? Also, Comrade 115, or I guess Xavier. But Northern Ireland has been looking to leave the UK for a while. This would give them a legal excuse. I think there's sort of a weird history there as well. Northern Ireland has many Irish people who would like to leave and become a part of Ireland. That being the case, there's also plenty of people who are English or who are Irish who want to be a part of the UK, that have been set up in a system and born and raised in a system that is associated with the UK and feels like they don't want that position uprooted against their will. So that's a very sensitive issue, and either way it puts those people in more risk right now. If there is a popular movement to secede, I think that it'll be something that the UK takes very negatively and will have to try and reconcile further, but I don't think that this situation would necessarily be the best attempt for Northern Ireland to leave, and I think if they did, it would cause a lot of hurt on both the side of the people who want to leave as well as the side of the people who don't. So I think there are better ways to do it, but I get what you're saying. 10 viewers. Yeah, we did have 10 viewers a second ago. Let's try and get it back up. Let's get these likes up, you guys. Let's get it. Republic of Guinea, yes. Okay, so what religion do I believe in? That is an interesting question. To tell you the truth, as of right now, I consider myself an atheist. I don't have a specific religion I believe in. I was raised Roman Catholic, and I definitely have understood that worldview for a long time. I respect all religions. I think people chasing their faith and in living a life that they see as beautiful and as deserving of the time that they have is wonderful to me. So I respect all religions, I welcome all religions, but personally I'm not religious. Good question. Let's see. Brave Boy, Iran diss track. Well, I do rap, so that's a thing. You could check out my my rapping channel. It's Winslow. That's a plug right there. But I haven't worked on it in a while, to tell you the truth. Neil Nelson, don't you think U.S. insisting on staying in Iraq goes against its illegal immigration policy back at home? I mean, they have been voted out of Iraq parliament. That is that is an interesting question, and an interesting point. Um, don't you think the U.S. insisting on staying in Iraq goes against its illegal immigration policy back at home? I mean, they've been voted out of by Iraq's parliament. I think so. I don't think it's illegal. I don't think it's against its illegal immigration policy, but that's funny because its illegal immigration policy, if you want to get actual, doesn't extend outside of the U.S. But that was a funny joke. I love it. We have 12 concurrent viewers right now. Oh my god. Oh, and now it's back to 11, but still 11 concurrent viewers. Over 10. Y'all smash that like button. I appreciate y'all. Now we're at 9, killing it, going to 45. All right. So yeah, we the Empire of Aeternia has been doing really well lately, and I just want to tell you thank you all for that. I have been really appreciative, and I cannot wait for what the future has. I know we were talking about something else a second ago. I just wanted to say that. I appreciate it, and I am so excited for what the future holds for us. To finish Greenia's question, I'm not religious personally. To continue on with the Iraq question, I think that the U.S. is causing more problems than they need to right now. I think they do have claim to certain property and certain things that had been set up there, although I think that's not necessarily the will of the people right now in Iraq, and they would like the U.S. to leave. I think it should be done and it can be done, but I think it'll take a little bit longer than the situation right now, especially when the U.S. feels threatened. It's this large superpower. I'm not saying that it's right that they stay, but I'm saying that I understand the position. I understand why they would in the position they're in, regardless of moral view, just strategically. But I think it does hurt a lot of people, and it does damage lives, and I'm shocked by it. I really am. I just hope that there is a way for us all to move forward, and for there not to be as much focused on differences and in trying to find reasons to take down who we perceive as our enemies, and instead trying to work together to build things. I feel like that's one of the things that I've learned in part through being a part of the micronational community, is just wanting to see other people succeed, and feeling that same support, and knowing that we're all ultimately human beings trying to achieve some common goals, some common issues that we all want to tackle and to improve upon for our lives. So being a micronationalist has given me a lot of perspective on that, and of wanting the world to be a better place where people come together, where situations can be resolved instead of fought out. So I believe we have a lot to show people and a lot to tell people, and I'm excited for where the micronational community is going. And thank you all so much for believing in it and believing in me. Colonel James, Broad's Proxy World Comrade 115, Cold War II. Either way, the USA will get everything. 10 viewers. I hope history doesn't repeat itself again. Correction back at home. Republic of Greenia. Alright, start the Crusades. I'm gonna go now. It's late for me. Alright, see you, Greenia. Have a good night. No, but I think that's been one of the most interesting things about this this entire setup, right? Is when we started the Empire of Aeternia, it was something that, hey, there we are. Look at my cool ass. Oh my god. I hate that image of me. I'm about to put a different thumbnail up. Check me out. 8 watching, 18 views from an hour ago. Wow, alright, so it had started up. Also, hold up, did we just get 505? Thank you so much for 505. Whoever was the 505th subscriber, Yoda best. And going back, that's the biggest thing that I feel like has been great about being a part of the Empire of Aeternia and in finding sort of a community that I could grow under and that I could see grow is just how many different perspectives there are and how many different ways of communicating and developing this whole system that we have is. How many different ways there are of doing that. And the strangest part about it to me has been, despite all of these creative people, despite all of these interesting stories, micronationalism as a whole hasn't seemed to pick up steam yet. And that's one of the things I hope to talk about in a future video, is just how important it is and how much fuel we have to succeed, not just as individual little blips on the map, but as a community, as a whole, to be something that is well understood, well known, and well achieved. So that's one of the things that I'm hoping for, and I'm hoping can be shown through the Empire of Aeternia. So if any of you guys are interested, definitely hit me up for information on what we do, on trying to grow our channel, on trying to grow our community, and on trying to represent you all. If you have any videos or anything you would like us to show on the channel, we would love to support that. So definitely let me know, and if you can, go check out our Patreon, go like, follow, subscribe, do all that. I appreciate it. Real JL Films. What would happen to Aeternia when you go, and who would be leader? What would happen to Aeternia? Well, I'll say this. I don't think I'll stop ruling Aeternia until I die. What happens when I die? Well, I suppose there are multiple options I've thought about, and I'll make a full video about this. But essentially, either I would decide an heir. I would name an heir at some point well before I would die, and then see that person become my heir once I would pass. DJ Onder 109, how you doing, man? I've seen you as well in the Discord, so what's going on? But yeah, so what would happen when I die? I guess it would be the primary thing would be I'd either have to pick a successor, and I'd name that person well ahead of time, and then, you know, once I would die, their term would go into effect. But I think, regardless of the situation, I would put more constitutional freedoms in for democratic purposes, for restraints in power, things like that, in case my successor turned out to be not supportive of the nation or not beneficial to it, as well as some clauses and some effects for just the stability of the system in general. I think either that, or I would make it a purely democratic system, and I'd completely give it to the people in some form. I would draft a constitution, I would do all those things, and I would create an official declaration of this for the people. Those are two options I've thought about really sincerely, and I think that I'll do a complete video listing the pros and cons of those and potential outcomes. Thank you all so much for 10 concurrent viewers, by the way. If you guys could hit up those likes, I would love it. I'd appreciate it. But that's a big thing, is trying to get to that point of, well, how big are we right now? What are we going to be like in 50 years, in 100 years, long after I'm gone? What is the way that we need to grow, and then from there, how do we develop a country that follows suit, that consistently will be what we hope for it, and will evolve as we would like it to. I hope history doesn't, okay, let's see. Neil Nelson, recently there have been U.S. drone strikes targeting al-Shabaab leaders. Do support U.S. drone strikes despite it killing civilians more than militias? There have been U.S. drones to militants. I'll say this. I don't know that I support, again, war, period. I don't know that I support drone strikes, period. Um, do I support U.S. drone strikes? I did not have the information in front of me. I was not the person who made the call. So I can't say for certain um, whether that would have been my decision. But from what I understand, I don't think I support drone strikes, period, in any country. Whether I supported those specific drone strikes or not, I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough to make a reasonable decision on such a serious topic, if you're asking me my honest opinion. Um, do I believe that it's horrible that it kills many civilians? Absolutely. I think that waging war in that way, period, is harmful and does lead to large casualties. So I think it depends on what the parameters we're looking at are as to what it is that needs to be adjusted, needs to be improved for us to be able to go on, and if we must have conflict that is even further restrained for the safety and sake of the people who aren't involved at all. Sad Lad says, is Aeternia an actual physical micronation or just an internet nation? And how do you imagine it to be in the future? So, is the Empire of Aeternia an actual physical micronation? Yes, I would say that we are an actual physical micronation. We aren't very large, and we have 2 territories as of right now, both very small. We're actually just building our new headquarters right now, which you can see on the channel. We are an actual physical micronation. We have a location. Our sovereignty isn't ensured yet, but on a global scale, but we are moving forward with that. We are starting to develop an economy. We are starting to create a base of interested viewers and eventually a larger permanent population on our physical micronational soil. So, I appreciate the question. I think it depends on what you consider a physical actual micronation, but I think we take many checks on that box, absolutely. We are not 100% sovereign. We're not on land that nobody else owns yet or claims, but we are on our own land. We have made the decision to become independent. So let me get off of this before I get a strike. Let me get off of this before I get a strike. Okay, let me go to there. Let me go to YouTube Studio so I can get back to our live stream. Let's see, videos, live. I'm trying to hurry up. Not exactly what I'm trying to do. Oh no. Okay. Live control room. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. Got it. Thank you guys for bearing with me there. Cool. So, Sad Lad, it's physical. Thank you, Real JL Films. I appreciate that. So we just had a little bit of technical difficulties. Fixed it up. But yes, the Real JL Films is right. We are an actual physical micronation. That is one of the things that I hope to show further and to try and get expressed on the channel is I appreciate how much you all have been able to support us and the direction the channel is going. I think micronationalism is becoming a more serious thing and can become something that is achieved in earnest by many people, especially as we get larger and start moving into space and start colonizing more planets. You know, there are absolutely reasons and ways to have micronations grow and expand on their own in actual physical ways. Um, so I hope that, first off, that answers your question. And secondly, I hope that in the future we have a base that is easily understood, that we have a path for independence that is easily walked by those who seek it. And I feel like in all of this, I know there must be baby steps taken. There must be small incremental movements by people who care about it and who want to see those ideas achieved to make them come true. And I feel like I am glad to be a part of one of those steps. And I thank you all for following that along and in helping to pave that way. Every one of your likes, every one of your comments, your subscription, every time you view a video, it helps to pave way for micronationalism to become more well known, to become more more of a sincere, earnest attempt and achievement on a human scale, on a earth-wide scale, on a galactic scale. Ultimately, if you want to know what you can do for micronationalism, it's to support other YouTube channels. It's to support people who are micronationalists, period. If you see something, even if you cannot yourself create a micronation, even if you have a micronation and you don't have much that you can do with it immediately, you can still support others, and you can develop a community and a group of people who are encouraging and a support structure, so that when you can start your own nation, or when you can join one of these already prosperous nations, you are ready. You're set with everything that you need, and it is a blossoming opportunity for you. It's not something that will hold you back. It's not something that will take from what you're attempting to achieve. It will instead give you all of the opportunity that you need and instill in you a confidence to push forward. That's, I think, what everybody who stepped into micronationalism really wants, is someone to tell them that they can create that nation and they can do that, and sincere, earnest followers in that. So I think you all watching the videos, making things happen, joining our Discord, you are building a structure not only for the Empire of Aeternia, but for micronationalism as a whole. You're adding to that larger masterpiece, and I appreciate it personally. I'm glad to help be a conduit for that in the way that I can, and in all the ways that you can. So, DJ Nowder 109 said, what if Aeternia colonizes Iran after Iran-American war if Iran is destroyed? Well, I'll tell you this. We probably won't, but if y'all wanted to make, fan theories about the lore of Aeternia and what might happen there, you could do it, and then I don't know, we could upload it to the channel and get it seen by a lot of people. I don't know. I mean, fan theories are fan theories. I can't touch it, but if someone else made the video and we put it up, I'm just saying, anything could happen, honestly. Mr. SRN94 says nothing will happen. Well, you're definitely an exciting person, dude. Keep it up, dude. It's killing it. Nothing will happen. But everything will also happen. That's the real question. Hey, 11 concurrent viewers. Hey, thank y'all so much. Definitely hit up those likes. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I ultimately think people are going to be fighting and there's going to be difficulty, but ultimately I think the world doesn't want a large catastrophic thing. So, Mr. SRN, I don't know that I completely agree with you, but I think that I think I understand why you might feel that way. DJ Nyouter said, yeah, a dumb question I made. No, not at all. Not a dumb question you made, man. That's a great question. I love it. I think the biggest difficulty with the situation that's going on, period, is that it further creates a situation where people who are striving for their own communities and trying to develop a positive atmosphere for their lives are being pushed down by two different systems. And I don't think that it's fair, and I don't think that it's right for the people caught in the middle of this large conflict, for the everyday people who are caught in the Middle East and who are having to deal with that. That's who it's not fair to, and that's what makes the situation so difficult for so many people. That's the reason that it's such a large, conflicting, and difficult issue to tackle, is because 100% it is something that is hurting real families, real people in the Middle East who want to do good and want to have a better life than they do right now, who see the better lives that other people have in other nations, and to their credit have wonderful, fantastic people, capable people of creating a system that is sustainable, and yet it ultimately comes down to other larger powers, people who have had those luxuries and those advancements for a little while longer, just pile driving through, and it's horrible, it's wrong, and it's not good for anyone in the world to behave that way, let alone nations of people. Sad lad. I remember a story of how a man bought an island and made it his nation, but shortly after he was attacked by pirates. What would you do in that situation? That's a great question. What would I do in the case that the nation was attacked by pirates? I think I'd set up good defenses. I tell you what, I am someone who deals a little bit in electronics, and I think I could set up some pretty good defenses. Automated defenses. I'd try my best, you know. Not necessarily all of them automated. We'd have people as well that would be there guarding and things like that. But if I have a fully automated platform in the ocean, right, that I'm floating on, things that have security measures that are designed in it to prevent people from climbing aboard, but in addition to that, to be able to lock up and seal down and have its own defense network, that's something that's pretty difficult to break through, and I doubt that pirates or anybody would ultimately end up messing with it once they realize how much trouble it would be to try and get in, and then what they would face once they did. So I really don't think it'd be that much of an issue. I'd prepare beforehand, but if I ended up face to face with pirates, I suppose I would live to fight another day. I'd find some way to live to come back and get my boat, I guess. I'd try and mark it or tag it as best I could. I'd try and go and get some help and come back for that yacht. Try and steal it back or something. DJ Ounder 109. How do you pronounce your last name, DJ, or your the full title of your thing, DJ? Also, new patch of Call of Duty Warfare. Oh my God, terrible. They are the captain now. But yeah, no. So I feel like it's good for anyone who's going to try seasteading, especially, to be well prepared for those types of things. I mean, if you really look into the defense systems and things like that some boats have, you would be interested to know how secure some boats can be, and ultimately how pirates end up getting away with what they do, and the ones that aren't successful. There's a lot to it, and I think it's worth looking into more. Also, thank you guys so much for 7 likes. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. As well, let's see here. We have been streaming for, let's see how long. We have been streaming for 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call it. But thank you so much for watching. Like I said, your support means so much. And I just wanted to make this video to say again, I'm surprised by what happened. In addition to all the videos that I'm trying to put out, bear with me, I have classes and everything, and I can't wait to make more content for you all. But at the same time, I have to make sure that I do well in my classes, not only for myself, but for the Empire as well. So I will see you all very soon, and as soon as we can get to 1,000 subscribers, again, I know I keep harping on this, but it makes such a difference. We're able to interact via the community tab. We're able to post things like GIFs and stuff, so you can keep updated with the channel and we can keep growing without me always having to make a video. It'll also give us the incentive of having that economic boost to support other channels. So again, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate it, and I'm going to try my best to help push us along through it. So thank you so much. I will see you soon, and goodbye. I will see you all soon. Peace. Peace. Peace.